I haven't been to the Mandarin in a while.
Actually, yeah, no, I don't usually go there, but yeah, it's not too bad.
You know, we'll take it.
Yeah.
We'll take the Mandarin. Why not? With the information we got, it was worth it.
Well,
Right? That's the thing.
that's the point. We had a great educational seminar, I guess, with Jonathan Griffith.
Yeah.
Rivers lawyer.
Yeah, go-to guy for a lot of deals. And he had some great insight for us too, right?
A lot of great insight, yeah.
With between some anecdotal stories of things that have been happening that he's noticing more of, and even some new laws that have come into place for 2023 that we haven't discussed on the channel here or talked about.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was so educational, eye-opener.
Yeah, and a lot of information that can impact a lot of people without them realizing it. You know, it's specific people. Like, we'll just tease it. It's to do with flipping and that kind of stuff. So it's specific people that are affected by it, but they're going to be affected in a big way, and for the most part, in a negative way, right?
Yeah, the government's going to be the one that's that benefits from it.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So, and that's just the way it's going to be going now. But to start off, some of the stories he was telling us about really reinforced for myself and for you, I hope too, the idea of working with your clients past the acceptance days of your offer. You know, it seems very apparent or obvious for us. It's what we do.
That's what we do. But there are agents out there that once the deal is done, they just refer everything to the lawyer.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense to us because it's not how we operate. Because when you view your business as a service, it doesn't necessarily end once money has been exchanged, right?
Before money.
Yeah, it hasn't even been exchanged.
Before the deal
yet.
closes.
Yeah.
Right.
Before the deal is closed, right? But you think the hard work's over, you got an accepted offer, and now it's not your problem anymore. How could it go wrong if you've got an accepted offer, right? And
there's lots of things that can go wrong.
Yeah, and even with our diligence, we still run into situations where we've had to be pretty careful and be very diligent with stuff. And
well, I'll give you an example. Look at the last deal that the condo that you sold.
Yes.
Right?
That was fun.
Right? Found out you went for a final inspection and the stove wasn't working, right?
Yeah, stove wasn't working. Place was a bit of a pigsty too. There had been tenants in there, and we had made sure beforehand that when we put in the offer that the tenants would have to vacate, and we got paperwork to confirm that. N11 signed by the tenants as the paperwork to make sure that they're out of there by a certain time.
Yeah.
We were accommodating with them and everything like that, and when it came to close, we did our walkthrough the day before close, and it was a mess, and the stovetop didn't work, right? And at that point, yes, then you have to talk to the lawyers. There's nothing for us to do, right?
No. But you know, the interesting thing is, in the old days, we could do what they call holdbacks. So in other words, the lawyer said, I'm going to hold back $1,000, $1,500, whatever. And as we found out yesterday, that's not possible anymore.
Yeah, you can't hold back part of the purchase price, right?
Exactly.
You're not allowed to do that.
So what did we do?
So what did we do? We tried to talk to the agent to see if we'd get lucky. For ourselves, we wanted to just serve our clients, so we paid for a cleaner to go in there and make it look nice. Because, like, we're not gonna nickel and we're not gonna try to potentially put a deal on the line over some dust and some food in the fridge. You know, right? It's
no. But we were able to negotiate an amount.
Yeah.
That was given to our buyer.
Yeah.
And we did it with an amendment, so not an actual holdback on closing. It's an amendment, so both parties agree to it.
Exactly.
Ahead of time.
Yeah. They wouldn't agree to anything about the cleaning or anything like that, but when we told them that the stove was broken, and it definitely wasn't broken when we went through before, they did give us some money back to our buyers. So
yeah, to fix it.
But that is, again, something that happens in good faith. That is because if the other side doesn't want to do an amendment, we got a new situation, right?
We have a new situation, then you have to close.
No more holdbacks.
You close under protest, and guess
protest.
what that means?
You get a C in court. You gotta have fun.
Small claims court, and that can take a long time.
People love small claims court, right?
Yeah.
It's such a great opportunity to learn about the judicial system and how quickly it can move for important issues. So it's unfortunate that that's kind of the way the Ontario government has moved, but that is the case where no more holdbacks. You can hope, like we had, in good faith, you can make an amendment to
When both parties agreed.
Both parties
and
agreed.
we had it in writing.
In writing, exactly, for a specific amount.
Yeah.
That amount might be negotiable if both parties feel like being amicable, but there's nothing to say that they could have said to us, no, you don't get anything from us. And then we would have had to turn to our clients and say, unfortunately, that's with the new regulations in place, we have to go to small claims, or we foot the bill ourselves,
Or we
right?
foot the bill, or we forfeit the deal.
Forfeit the deal.
That can be, that's another story.
Cost, yeah, that's another rabbit hole, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's definitely something
But you know what we've really noticed though in the last 2 months, the market.
yeah,
Whoa,
it's getting a little bit
we're
it's picking up again.
Buyers are coming back out.
Getting all excited.
Last few listings we've had, we've averaged 7-8 offers, multiple offers,
Yeah.
selling for 10 to 20% over asking price.
Yep. And with
What's going on?
yeah, we're hosting open houses on Saturday and Sunday where we're having 15 groups of people. So like what, 30 people, 35
Minimum. You
people
had a
minimum.
lot more than that. One.
Sometimes, yeah, we'd be pushing 20, 25 sometimes,
Yeah.
groups of people, and that's when the line gets pretty long outside, unfortunately. But it's like, it goes to show right now that before we were talking about it seems to just be first-time home buyers, kind of everything under 900,000 still have that activity through the winter.
That's the video that we did before, yeah.
Whereas now, we're definitely seeing that kind of activity throughout the market, pushing into the 1.5, 1.8, above
Yeah.
there probably.
Yeah.
We're seeing multiple offers. And it's people that they've been waiting. They've probably got a place already, and they're looking to upsize. They've got a family, and they've saved, put some money away, and they're ready to pull the trigger, right?
Well, I think they've come to the realization the interest rates are what they are now. We've stabilized. We're not seeing the half a point, 50 basis points, or 75 basis points increase. So they know what they're dealing with now.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, we're seeing more listings come available as well, right? Where
Yeah.
we're seeing the usual turn of spring, where people have made the decision.
Still not as many as we'd like to see.
No, that's for sure. Not as many
Not the choice.
as we'd like to see, but it's definitely a little bit better than it was. So,
Yeah.
and then inversely, because of that, we've seen the prices also have been increasing consistently over the last couple of months. Like it feels weird to talk about. Like we were looking at prices 5-6 months ago, and everything was just holding steady, maybe a percentage point difference, right? And then
Yeah.
3 months ago, well, 3 months ago, towards the beginning of March,
Yeah.
I guess. That's when it just started to really pick up, where we saw a 6% increase, and then a 7% increase, and then now we're only 5% off of the April 2022 prices.
Which was
So
the high, the crazy prices.
the silly season.
Yeah, we're not
Where-
that far off again.
Where it's like we were seeing ridiculous prices, silly amounts of offers, and we're not far off of that actually. And it's like slowly crept up on us, you know? People haven't really taken note of it, I guess. Some people think the market's gonna go the other way, but it's not looking like that right now. It's just on a steady trajectory up. It's
Yeah,
chugging along.
yeah.
So
It's funny when we talk to anybody, they think there's no multiple offers out there.
yeah.
No, that's
The
not
average
case.
person coming through the open house for me, because they don't have access to the same statistics that I do, unfortunately. It doesn't feel like it should be like this, but it just is. You know, like people don't think that they're going to see 10 offers on a place that's going for 1.4 or above. You know,
Didn't you have one person that came through there, and I'm not gonna say what we had listed at, but we had it listed at a price, and they said, oh, you'd be lucky if you get that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. No, it's just the numbers speak for themselves right now, and it's an unfortunate situation for buyers that if you've been waiting to hope that something might happen, it's not happening. The prices are going up. If you've been waiting, you're going to start to miss the ship, right? It's going to start.
Yeah.
Because again, there's no crystal ball. I got none. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see prices go above those 22 by potentially the end of summer.
Or the end of the year.
End of year.
Right, but
Yeah.
like you said, we don't have a crystal ball.
No,
Yeah.
but right now, like you're saying with the interest rates, there's nothing to really slow down the prices, right? We've got inventory that isn't picking up as quick as the demand, and immigration is picking up pretty quickly still too, and steady interest rates are allowing buyers that have been waiting for maybe a couple of years to seriously approach buying again. So
Now, there was another thing that came up as far as the foreign buyer ban.
Yes, foreign buyer ban. It's
How long is it for?
2 years.
2 years, right?
Yeah, you don't have to quiz me. I was paying attention.
Okay, okay, good.
2 years, and what type of properties does it apply to?
Residential properties.
Not commercial. So
Yeah.
I can't speak to how much of an impact that could have, but basically, the way Jonathan described it is the government sees residential homes for living and for taxes. That's the way that he described it. You know, commercial is not for the government to touch right now or to kind of dabble in. Hands off type of deal. So that is something that is in place, and it actually only applies to major municipalities, right? I couldn't tell you which municipality off the top of my head, but it's basically any major municipality. It does have that restriction. When you start going farther north, away from the major cities, that's when you could see that it's not being enforced. So at that point, they don't think that foreign buyers are trying to influence the market in those type of regions.
You know, having said that, we looked at statistics before, there weren't that many foreign buyers.
No. To begin with, it's like we're talking about a hypothetical, like it's like they're influencing our market, right?
Yeah.
And they're really not. Like they do have an impact, not to say they don't. Like what was it? I think it was between 2 and 5%.
It was around,
If
yeah,
I can
somewhere
remember
around
range,
5 or 6
I
at the
can't
most.
remember the exact number,
Yeah.
but 5 at the very most.
Yeah.
But Griffiths was talking about the biggest impact on the market right now is investors. Investors have a very big impact on the market, and they're not necessarily the easiest to deal with for agents and for lawyers. They like to go on their timelines, and he's dealt with multiple cases of investors kind of ignoring closing, ignoring key exchanges and other things, and kind of being a little bit disrespectful almost of families.
Disrespectful is a good way of putting it.
Of families, because they're an investor, they're not living there, so they treat the family like a transaction, not like they're getting a home or something.
Yeah.
So
That's what it is for them, a transaction.
it is, right? And they're not being
Yeah.
considerate of these people, right? So that is something that he's seeing. We haven't really dealt with it necessarily
No.
ourselves. I can't speak of any investors that we've closed deals with.
Well, we did
So-
we sold a listing that an investor bought, and it closed without any hitches. On
Yeah,
time,
actually true.
right? That's
You're
an
right.
investor.
Yeah, he was an investor.
No
Yeah,
problem.
it was an incorporation. So
Yeah.
I guess we forgot about it because there's no hitches.
No,
So
zero hitches.
we had no problem from our
Smooth-
perspective. From
smooth sailing, as they say.
yeah, yeah.
What's the government trying to do to make it a little more affordable now when they talk about the flipping?
Flipping, you're teasing it, eh? What we were talking about earlier. The government has decided that there needs to be more taxes in place for people that are trying to make a quick buck on a property, right? So if you buy a property and you sell it within a year, you are, how would I say this?
Well,
You're on the hook, or
it's being, whatever your profit is, it's your income, and that's what you're gonna be taxed on.
Yeah.
It's not capital gains anymore, it's your
Yeah.
actual income, 100% income.
exactly.
And depending on your tax brackets, that's a huge chunk of the money.
Yeah, that pays, that's a big portion of it, right? And just for clarification, capital gains has to do with primary and secondary residences, correct?
Yes, correct. That's your
And-
secondary one, that's a rental property, more or less.
And
That's
that's
your primary.
Exactly. So right now with capital gains, the way it works, like if you have a secondary property and you sell it, you get capital gains tax on that, right?
Right.
Now, the way it works is instead of capital gains tax on that property, you would have full income tax on that property.
Absolutely. Full income tax, so
Yeah.
if you sell it in less than a year,
Yeah.
right?
If you sit on the property for a year, then after that, you're not.
But you have to prove that you've lived there.
Yes. And this is something that he was also stressing
Wasn't
to
that
us.
interesting? eh?
Yeah, the CRA is being very diligent with people. Apparently, it's not just a matter of checking to see if you're living there with some mail. They're checking your hydro to make sure that the usage is what it is. They're making sure that you're actually living there by driving by. I'm assuming. I don't know. It sounds like secret agent stuff. But
It
like,
does sound like secret agent, but I think the big one was they actually check your hydrometer.
Yeah.
That is being used.
consistently.
Yeah,
Right.
so you can't just park your car there
and then say that you're there.
Yeah.
And they're even going after like pre-development as well, where they would go to developers the CRA will ask for all of the completed accepted offers of purchase and sale.
Yeah.
And then in a year time, they will go back and they will check all the titles on those, and then they will audit anybody that doesn't match up there. So they're being very diligent with this right now about.
It's a cash cow for them.
It is. It is.
It really is.
And it's interesting that he talked about a loophole that still exists right now. So I guess the reason he brings it up is because like if the government wants to make money off of people taking advantage of the housing market, there are other places to do it too. Not to say flipping like this is bad or good. I don't know. I'm not a flipper, so it's like.
Well, I think the problem with flipping is it just increases the prices.
Yeah, and it's just like the Canadian economy in general is being propped up by real estate so much, and it just doesn't feel sustainable how consistently we've been pushing up the prices. You know, we haven't had a major correction. Like, sure, our prices dropped when the interest rates started going up, but that wasn't like a huge correction. Well, I couldn't imagine it could be viewed as a big correction if we're almost at those prices a year later. You know?
Yeah. Surprising, very surprising.
So yeah,
Those
but
are the facts.
though, yeah.
What's the loophole?
The loophole that still exists. Oh, I'm showing some belly.
I want to know the loophole.
The loophole, just so you can get on top of it, right? What people are doing is they will buy a tear down property, tear it down, build a new home, and when they put in the permits for building it, they will say that they are building it for themselves, so that they don't need to get carry-on warranty or any insurance. Because why would you insure against yourself, basically, right? That's the way you describe it. The warranty, right? The carry-on warranty. Quick high level for carry-on warranty. That's basically for new builds. If you purchase one, you get a carry-on warranty. It exists for 7 years.
Right.
And then different parts of it fall off. I think after 3 years, I think certain appliances fall off, and then
It's structured.
it's structured, and it depends on the developer and how they do it for the most part with carry-on. But yeah, people will claim that they're building for themselves, so they don't need to get carry-on warranty. They build the place, and then they immediately sell the place and say, "Oh, it didn't work out. We didn't end up being able to live there," and it's going completely under the radar. And when they do that, it's not being actually flagged for this like flipping tax, anti-flipping tax. It's still being processed usually as capital gains in that perspective. Then, so they created this new rule, and then left a big loophole for big investors to be able to play in. You know, so it closes the loophole on smaller people, though, on smaller investors who might just have one property that they're looking to do. I know for some people that we know, that's going to close it down, where they knew the market was going to be picking up some new builds in Pickering, so they saw an opportunity, and there's no way around it. They're not grandfathering anybody into
They're
this
not
as well.
grandfathering anybody. If you bought like in 2019 pre-construction, you're on the hook.
You're on the hook for it as well.
When
So
the actual residency starts.
exactly.
Condos.
If you didn't start living in it before 2023, that's a wrap on that, right? So the lots of rules and regulations and lots of fun stuff happening.
lots
I wouldn't say fun. That's a bit of a stretch.
Lots of things happening though.
Yeah,
Sure.
lots of things happening, and I guess at the end of the day, what Jonathan Griffith started talking to us about is, and what we started this conversation about, was the importance of realtors being involved in the process, right? Whether you're talking to the mortgage agents, whether you're talking to the clients, start to finish, and making sure that everybody is transparent about where they're at. Because he was telling us about some clients that weren't necessarily fully open with their agents about maybe liens on the property, right? Because they bought the place a year or two ago, they haven't been able to carry the mortgage properly, and they can't actually afford to sell, right? And that's a little bit confusing to me, but it's.
Well, they owe more than it's worth.
Right? Yes. And then when
They owe taxes, the CRA will put a lien on it, and all that stuff's gonna be paid first.
yeah, and he's saying quite a few of those are starting to pop up right now because of the way the market shifted in the last couple of years. So it just really needs to drill home the need for a good relationship between a client and a realtor, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Transparent.
really transparent, right? And that's why we would like to say we're still useful as realtors, and that's where we strive to be successful, right? Being able to fill these gaps in for clients where it's like there's such a vast amount of information, and it's changing so quickly that having some people that are kind of on the inside and able to support that, that's what we need to do as realtors. So that was,
Having your finger on the pulse. Right?
yeah, having your finger on the pulse and knowing
Absolutely.
something like that, where if you bought a property, you might be on the hook, right? So lots of great stuff to learn, and hopefully some good information for you as well. Really appreciate you tuning in. We got more coming down the pipeline soon. So
Very soon.
Yeah,
Very
good
soon.
stuff. We will keep you updated.
Appreciate it.
Take care. Have fun.
Bye for now.